You've had Wendy's nugs dipped in sauce, but have you had them covered in sauce? Wendy's new saucy nugs take the crispy and spicy nugs you love and turn them up to 11. Choose between flavors like buffalo or honey barbecue, garlic parm, or if you're a real heat seeker out there, you can try spicy ghost pepper only on Wendy's signature spicy nugs. Listen, I'm going to dare you to do it. I dare you. That's 7 delicious ways to try the nugs that you already love. Pick a flavor. Grab some extra napkins and then grab a few more napkins and prepare to nug like you've never nugged before. For a whole new way to nug, it's got to be Wendy's at participating U.S. Wendy's.
I find myself wondering why Cardwell just hasn't been able to break through this group in the way that maybe we expected.
Mm-hmm. You could argue it's just 2 years off of football. And it's just a lot more rust has to come off compared to everyone else. Particularly, coming off of 2 injuries, right? Like, it's not like you were just redshirted for being redshirted. Like, you were out injured. So for him to, 1, trust his body, for 2, his body to be, up to speed on getting hits and running through tackles and so on. But if we're giving him moments in very key, like, situations.
Yeah.
So we're giving him the little taste of football back. I just hope if he gets anywhere to the level we think he is by like midway through the season, like that's the key for me.
Okay.
More so than early on. But
so you're saying just be patient.
That's how I'm looking at it. Just because we do have a good stable of running backs, like we don't really need him to come back quick. Like last year, if we had him, and then if Fonse goes down, like it would have been nice to have him early on, right? But having Jet, having Kadarius, I think makes up or allows them to bring him back slowly.
I for sure would have thought he would have been number 2 running back going into the season.
I think so too.
But I think you're right. 2 years of injuries. It's a lot. So, okay. One of the things that I noticed in this game was I know that we have the Philly tush push as a part of our playbook.
Now, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Of course. Yeah. But we didn't really use it as much as I would have expected. We did one time.
Yeah.
And then we had other conversions that we decided not to. And my point was like, if you have it, use it. Because that is, in theory, one of the most, if not the most effective 4th down play of all time. 4th and 1.
I agree.
I'm wondering if it's like an injury thing, if there's concerns, like if there's risk there. But I just didn't understand, like, if we have it and we're in these 4th and short situations, why are we doing these halfback
dives?
Yeah, that aren't working.
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, the only answers that I can think of is one, as you just said, an injury. Like you don't want Mendoza to get hurt, sometimes piling in there. Maybe it's a cadence thing where, instead of off the snap where the quarterback's pushing in, like if you give that half second off to give the handoff, then maybe it opens up a little bit of a gap that he can kind of dive in towards, like to get the first down. Just kind of switching it up in that regard. Maybe it's a decision based on refereeing. Like if they feel like the refs aren't good at getting good spots in those short down situations, then you decide not to go with that just because you feel like it's going to back you up. Maybe. Because the refs weren't great in this game, that's for sure.
No. Well, I couldn't tell, quite honestly, like every single time they flew through a flag, for the most part, in the first half, I was like, yeah, that was a penalty.
I think all of the procedural ones, I think they got right. False starts, illegal shifts.
There was a couple like really obvious holds. Like
yeah.
Super obvious holds.
Yeah. But, the really egregious ones were like super weird. I mean, everyone's talking about the timeout that led to the review, right?
Yeah.
To get the ball back. Like, I don't know if people watch Wilcox's press conference, so I'll put that on the record here. He did say after the game when they asked him about it, the reason they took the timeout was because the head comms weren't working, so they couldn't get a play into the player, which is why they called the timeout. There's a whole discussion about this going on. In my opinion, the first down was given. I don't think there was any indication that that play was going to be reviewed or the spot. Once again, people, if you're watching at home or if you're watching like on a TV screen, you're like, oh, okay, that spot was very nice and it probably is coming back. But in the moment when you're on the field and you're a coach, you're not looking at the TV screen like to see where the spot is, nor can you really see it on those big jumbotrons. You know, it's not the huge jumbotrons that you see at like Notre Dame.
No one has ever said huge or big in front of the Cal jumbotrons. I have to do like the fake goggles around my eyes just to peer into those things, and like they're trying to do a replay on the targeting, or who knows. Like, what are those ants? And I'm like right next to it. It's crazy. Those things are so small. Of course, he has no idea.
Yeah. So there's no way he's like expecting that, which is why they took the timeout just to get the play call right and the headsets correct. And then the review comes in, and then the ball gets placed backwards. Like I think that's, for me, it's just an unfortunate series of events more so than like a bad coaching moment or like a bad decision making moment.
It's lemony snickets.
Exactly. A series of unfortunate events. But yeah, the run game, I think, was, to go back to the run game, stellar. It's crazy that we're seeing plays that we haven't seen in the playbook like consistently, right? Like as you mentioned, the tush push, like we know that's in the playbook now. So this Saturday when we're at Florida State and it's like 4th and 1 on their 45-yard line, like it's coming. We're probably gonna use it.
It better be. That's exactly right.
Yeah,
that's what we need.
Yeah, we've been asking for it for years.
I do want to talk a little bit about maybe before just picking players of the game. I thought Dyches had his best game as a Cal Bear.
Dropped pretty much a touchdown at the end.
He did. Though. Yes, he did. But it was really good to see. It was good to see Tron get a couple of catches. It's been a really slow start for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had another one.
They tried to get him going early. Like they threw the first pass of the game was thrown to him, and he just had no idea the ball was even being thrown to him. The ball's behind him. But yeah, I mean, I think some of the other guys definitely picked it up. I'm looking at the chart here. Jack, with 3 probably solid catches. Jonathan Brady, I thought, could do a bit more, but he's only targeted twice in this game. Mikey Matthews also targeted only twice in this game. But we didn't really need the pass game here when we were running the ball so well, and we had time of possession for most of the game as well. The reason the reason this game took so damn long was because every time San Diego State had the thing, it'd be like either penalties or incomplete passes that just like killed the clock every single like drive.
Light it. There's only one place you can hear a 3-time national championship winning head coach,
a Heisman Trophy winning running back and national champion,
and someone to keep everything on the tracks. Every week, Coach Urban Meyer, running back Mark Ingram, and me, Rob Stone, get into what matters most to you.
We take you inside the biggest moments in college football
while having some fun bringing you guests from all over sports and entertainment.
Watch Triple Option on YouTube or listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Go.
The journey to a smoke-free future can be a long and winding road, but if you're ready for a change, consider taking Zyn for a spin. Zyn nicotine pouches offer a fresh way to discover your nicotine satisfaction. Anywhere, anytime. No smoke, no spit, and no lingering odor. Get in gear with the Zyn 10 Challenge and enjoy 10 smoke-free, spit-free days for just $5.95. Order online and start your new journey today. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
It was outrageous. It was outrageous. But the San Diego State fans behind me had really good commentary. They're like, "Yeah, this is why we came out to this game, just to watch referees throw flags." Like what a product this is. That was so good. So good. All right, well, I want to talk about the perspectives, if you will, and sort of like what you saw on the sideline that no one else had access to. And I do try to spot you on the field, so I did think I maybe saw you sort of set up in the end zone for a while. So I don't actually know how close you were to this, and it's quite possible that you weren't close at all. But I'm going to lay the land a little bit here, where as soon as I entered the stadium, one of the first things I heard over the microphone as I was entering the stadium was the referee on our terrible PA system, which again should be mentioned because no one can understand. If we can't understand a chant that is, give me a C, give me an A, give me an L, what does that spell? If I can't understand that, then who the hell is going to be able to understand, please stop throwing things on the field? But that was the first thing I heard in the game, was exactly that announcement. And then I heard it again. And it's like, oh, wow, a second time. And then I heard it again for a third time. I think there was maybe a total of 4 times when I heard, and the fourth time was at either at half or like close around half. And they said, if you throw another thing on the field, Cal fans, if you can throw another thing on the field at San Diego State, we're going to penalize you 15 yards. And then we got a 15-yard penalty. And that didn't deter us enough. We got another 15-yard penalty. Yep. And at that point, Wilcox comes on the mic. And then now I think it went viral. I wouldn't know. But like,
I mean, even Wilcox, you couldn't hear what he was saying to the student section either.
That, yes, is very true. But at home, you could.
Yes, that's different.
So,
yeah.
But that was absolutely hilarious. Cal fans, we love you. Please stop throwing things onto the fields.
There's like so many layers to this thing. It's like, it's hilarious. Like Avi tweeted out, like, Wilcox is out there like handing out free tickets to students like this week, only for the students to come into the field and hand us 2 15-yard penalties. Like, and Wilcox talked about it in his post-game presser too when they asked about it. He's like, yeah, we love our fans, we do all that, but like I really liked his answer, because he was basically like, we all have to learn how to win. And it's like, that's like the players, the staff, the fans, like all of us. And thank God this wasn't one of those games where the game was tight and that was happening. But like, it's just, yeah, we can't have that in a close game. We call this game a game of inches, and you're giving away 30 yards.
Okay, that's one take. I'm going to come out with a little different one. And I know you said there's layers to this. And so I think this is what you were hinting at. This is all his fault. This is all Wilcox's fault. It's the whole football program's fault. I feel zero bad for them. There was a reason why there was a rule in the Pac-12. And that was, you can't have your student section behind the away team. Right? We went to the ACC. They don't have that rule. Guess what we did? Well, our team has to stand in the sun and be better for our home field advantage if we put the away team behind the section that is always the most full. Shout out to our students. So we make the bold move to shift Cal away from that in front of the student section and put the away team there. And now your head coach is going out saying, come out to the game, support us. And you have a lively pregame scene. If I'm having a lively time I shouldn't say my exact age, as a 35 plus year old, then I can't even imagine what. And also, again, shout out to the students. The student section was overflowing. I haven't seen it like that. Obviously, we had the big game where it sold out, so I can't say I haven't seen that in a long time, but that gave me like real 07 vibes, like freshman year. You had to get there early, because if not, you were spillover. Like you couldn't be in the core. Like you had to get there early, and it was such a sacred thing. So to have that be as full as it is, and then you have the opposing team there. I mean, come on. Like, it's kind of like we sat a child in front of matches and we're like, have fun. we'll be back. And then they played with the matches. We're like, what are you doing playing the matches? You're not supposed to play the matches. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I get it. I understand. Okay, we act like we've been there before, but like, come on. And also, like, who the hell am I to judge anybody on that? Every single time with the card stunts. Now, I will admit, I waited until they were done.
Yep.
But every single time, I would save me a little pack, fold them up paper airplanes, and then we would have battles to see whose paper airplane could get on the field.
It's called. It's
just
just
didn't
called. It's just
matter.
college. It's like 18 to 20-year-olds. It's like they're going to do stupid things.
Oh yeah, and then if your paper airplane made it to the field, you're all chugging a beer. It's a vibe. It's a vibe. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's a matter of us having to have been there before. I think it's a matter of us like having made some changes and then not really thinking through, hey, if you give a really rambunctious student section a bunch of paper and you have the opponent standing there, literally a stone's throw, or dare I say, a paper. I was just going to say paper mache. That is not right.
No.
Construction paper throw away. Yeah, I might take a couple shots. Why not? Why not? You see it all. You see it in professional sporting events all the time. You can go. I went to the A's game, the protest game, sell the team game.
Yeah.
And at the end of the game, everyone just chucked bottles onto the field.
Well,
those are adults.
But to be fair, that's a different reason that they're chucking bottles onto the field.
It is.
Vastly different reason.
But those are adults. Those are 30-year-olds, 34, 50-year-olds. Those are much older people. And but yes, I understand. It's a little different. But I still think, like, at any given sporting event, you may see somebody toss something in a particular direction because of the influence of alcohol. And but they are not being handed cards sitting behind the opponent. Like, I can't even imagine if it was an NFL game and it was the Niners, and the Niners are like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to put our opponents right next to our most hardcore fans. Better yet, let's say the Raiders, right? Because the Raiders have, they used to have those crazy.
The black hole.
Black hole. All right. So what we're going to do at the Coliseum, this is going to be genius, Rob. Let me just pitch you this idea, right?
Oh my God.
We're going to get this. We're going to move the black hole to the 50-yard line. And not only that, that's where our opponent's going to be. And then get this. At halftime, we're going to do a stunt where everybody gets cards. And at the end, they're going to throw the cards in the air. All the black hole people will love it. It's going to be great. And you're going to tell me that none of those people at the Raiders game are going to take those cards, ball them up, and chuck them at the opponents on the field. No chance. I guarantee you. I guarantee it. There's no chance. I don't blame anyone in the student section whatsoever. I just don't. I think anybody in a similar situation would have done the same thing. It's easy for us to look at and be like, come on, it's costing us 15 yards. Nah, nope, can't do it. I just can't.
For me, first of all, the whole card stunt thing is part of the tradition of like being in the student section, right? Like it's been going on for years. Second, like not having the students have learned like what the traditions are and what they're doing and like what you're supposed to be doing, like that's a part of it too. And then lastly, like all it takes is one person to test and push the envelope, which is exactly what happened, right? If they wanted this to stop off the bat, right? That first card that was thrown onto the field should have resulted in a 15-yard penalty. For me, because the moment they said that and they were like, please stop throwing stuff onto the field, was the moment I knew it was going to continue until something bigger happened.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm just like, they should have just given the penalty off the bat. It would have been so much easier to reel everyone in. But the moment the first guy did that, then it's like, oh, no one got like consequence of it. And then so more got thrown. Also to be said is the card throwing stuff onto the sidelines like has been going on for years. Like, it's been going on since our team has been on that sideline. The only difference is because the away team is now there, they're going to report it to the officials.
Right.
So that's always been an issue. I don't know what they're going to do now in terms of how to educate the players or the student section if you're going to continue to do card stunts. If you pull the card stunts,
I think the card stunts have run their course.
I think we're at a point now where you could probably do like, electronic wristbands or like on your phone, and everyone just holds up their phone on an app, and it'll do like a card stunt feel type thing to it. But since it is a long-standing tradition, I guarantee it's going to be a long discussion being had on if it should continue or if it should not.
Yeah, deservedly so. Yeah, I don't know, because if you have the 15-yard, they didn't care after the first 15-yard penalty. They might have not cared after the second one. It took Wilcox coming out and be like, "Please stop." Yeah, I think it's more so like better security. If you see one person do it and not get in trouble, then you feel free to do it.
Yeah.
But if you see one person do it and get thrown out of the game, you're probably not going to do it.
Yep.
So
Consequences. Consequences for your actions.
Yes. Defund the student section. Won't go there. All right. Let's do players of the game.
All right. Who do we got? Let me take a look.
I mean, I'm just going to go Jet. Offense, easy, done. What about you?
Offense. I'll go Daishit. I think he had a very good game. I think he gives us something from the tight end position that we didn't really have as a vertical threat from the tight end spot. I thought he was solid. That touchdown catch on that RPO was spot on.
Yeah,
that's exactly the type of like threat we want out of that role. Just running the seam from the tight end spot. It's an RPO. Mendoza tosses it right at him. Touchdown.
Defense.
Ooh, defense is a harder one. I mean, the easier answer here is Carlton. 2.5 sacks, 2.5 tackles for loss. He's just wreaking havoc.
Yeah. I am just gonna throw out a random name for you.
There you go. Who is it?
Ryan McCulloch.
I mean, we talked about him last week too, right? Just the amount of the QB hurries
he was
he
in
has.
the backfield a lot.
Yeah, a lot. Let's see. I'm trying to find his stat line here. Yeah, half a tackle for loss and 2 QB hurries. So a lot less QB hurries from the past prior weeks when he had 6 and 5, but still had 2. I mean, there's so many other guys to choose from, like Marcus Harris having, not playing the first half and coming in the second half and having that interception, huge.
Noel doing Noel things.
Noel doing Noel things. Yeah, I mean, we lead the country in takeaways, right? So, which is insane.
Are you concerned about that? Because I know we were in the Sonny Dykes era when we were the
turnovers are, as Nick always says, are something of such high variance. It's like you can't guarantee yourself that you're going to get a turnover, but you can try to get as many turnovers as possible, and it's just a matter of, do we get it or do we not? Like, I don't know if you saw that video, the Cal before Auburn, like they did that recap video, and he was talking to the defense about, like, get us the ball 2 to 3 times. Like, you did it for us last week, but like this week, get it for us 2 to 3 times. This is right before the Auburn game. So you can scheme for it. It's just a matter of the execution, right? So I don't expect us to hold this pace of like 3 turnovers ish per game. Like, that's just wild if we win the turnover battle like that every single game. But if we can create just enough and capitalize on those drives, like, that's the big thing. Like, that's the issue right now for our offense, is like they're getting the ball 3 times, but how many points are we scoring off of those? Like, let me I just had it. Points off turnovers, 3. Or wait, points off turnover. Oh, 0. Sorry, points off turnover 0 for Cal, despite the turnovers. So, like, we're generating more possessions, but we're not doing anything with it. So the offense needs to start picking it up. If we can get even one turnover, and then if we get a touchdown off that turnover, that changes the narrative of like the game in the game more so than just getting 3 turnovers and not doing anything with it.
Yep. The only benefit of 3 turnovers is you're taking up a little bit more time.
Yeah.
But I think I feel like one of those was the dropped touchdown pass. I can't totally remember.
It could either be that or the missed field goal.
Missed field goal.
Yeah.
How concerned are you about special teams? Last question before we go to next week.
Field goals, not really. I mean, he nailed the 48-yarder, which was crazy. The 63 wasn't even close.
Not even close.
Yeah. I think he'll get there. I think you and I are. I'm in the same point of what you were saying last week. Of none of those misses are egregiously bad misses. They're like a sliver away. The 63-yarder, I think it was just like a why not? What the hell? Let's give him a shot at it. But the 28-yard miss, that was bad. But the 48-yarder was just spot on, which led to free Chick-fil-A for everyone in the stadium. So they have that new promotion going on. So I'm all right with it.
As long as Rob gets his chicken,
it's great. I was so surprised that we're running that type of promotion. We never run those types of promotions. Hit a 45-yard plus field goal and everyone gets Chick-fil-A. We didn't. It's like the Lakers score over 100. You get tacos from Jack in the Box.
Wish we had done that for Obi Town. R.I.P. Obi Town.
R.I.P.
All right, let's look ahead. Tallahassee, Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
Cross country trip. Florida State's 0-3 after losing to a powerhouse, Memphis, last week, which they paid roughly $1.4 million to lose that game.
You know who's on the sideline at Memphis too? It was D'Angelo Williams, the former running back. Yeah, because I think he went to Memphis, so he was on the sidelines at that game too. Pretty cool.
He was on The Amazing Race.
Oh, was he? That's one of your favorite shows.
Favorite, too strong.
Watchable. I mean, Survivor's easily your favorite show, but
Ooh, but it has been replaced, my friend.
Oh.
The Traitors.
Oh. Ooh, spicy.
The Traitors has taken over. It's so good. Okay, Florida State. What are you looking out for? Did you see anything did you have a chance to watch the Florida State game? And
I did watch the Florida State Memphis game.
Where do you land here on confidence level and what do you think for those that didn't watch the game? What should we be expecting?
Okay. I'm going to list a couple things. Okay. First, I'm going to go with an off the field story that's hilarious. The Florida State band was playing their the chop song every time Memphis was on the field, on offense, about to do a play. You're not allowed, the home band is not allowed to play when the offense gets set for the away team. You're not allowed to do that. But they did it. And what happens? The officials tell them to stop playing when Memphis is getting set for an offensive play. So the two teams this past week that got warnings from officials for in the stands shenanigans will be playing each other on Saturday.
That's a great fun fact. That's really good. Did they get a flag or no?
No, because they only did it once. But the funnier part was they stopped doing it. But then every time they did play though, because they're allowed to play after the play is over before the offense gets set. You're allowed to do that in between. They were playing it louder in those moments. So
just despite the officials.
Yeah, just despite the officials. I thought that was great. I love that type of just a student led banter, I guess. But on the field though, good God, their offensive line looks horrible. It's horrid. It's absolutely horrid. There was one where they're running a pulling guard and a tackle, on a power run. And the two guys pull and then they don't block anyone. They just kind of jog. They just kind of jog into the second level, and you see the running back get tackled at the line of scrimmage. It's just like it's just bad. It's real bad everywhere for them right now. So it's very concerning. Hopefully, our defensive line can capitalize on that. And with the way our defensive line has been playing the last 2 weeks, this is going to be our biggest test in terms of athletes. But the fact that we did it against Auburn, against those athletes, bodes well, in my opinion, that we can at least match up well at Florida State. And then, of course, DJU is not the DJU we saw play here with Oregon State last year.
And why is that? Because he was unbelievable last year.
I mean, you could argue he was only unbelievable against us. Like, if you look at his total stat line, it wasn't the greatest of years for DJU, and like he has declined ever since he left Clemson.
That's why he didn't
last
go.
year at Clemson.
That's why he didn't go to the league.
Yeah, but it's bad. But it's not like they have a backup that's like good either. Like their backup played the last 2 games of last year, played the ACC championship game and also the Orange Bowl against Georgia. And I watched those highlights last night. Not great, Bob. Not great at all. So they're in a pickle. Like they don't know what to do. Like you can't really change them out because it's probably going to get worse at quarterback. You probably want the experienced guy in there, but their roster that they had last year had so much turnover going into this year with transfer portal and NIL money, but it hasn't gelled like they expected it to.
They had like what, top 5 recruiting class?
Yeah, I mean, there's like rumors that they spent like close to 15 mil in NIL, or they had 15 mil in NIL. Who knows if they actually used all of it? But yeah.
Ooh.
So, and if it's giving you the 0-3 start, man, ooh boy, I do not want to be that fan base right now.
No, I have a hard time seeing Florida State 0-4, but we'll see.
I mean, the biggest thing for me is that it's still going to be a tough game to play. Like, I was watching that Memphis game, and like the stands were pretty empty, and I was kind of surprised by that. But I guess if your team is 0-2 and you were vying for a national championship the year before, I guess just air is taken out of all of it. But our game against them is family weekend, which is like basically their homecoming, right? So it's gonna be a full game. I think the game is sold out, so we'll see how many of those people actually show up to the game. But as of right now, like on the Florida State website, I think the game does show up as sold out. You can only get resale tickets.
78,000 people.
Yeah, but also fun interesting fact: half of their stadium is under renovation, so you can't sit in half the stands, or like one side of the stands.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to see what the attendance was last week. Now that you say that,
Yeah, but
dude, there's people covering their heads in paper bags.
yeah, they were doing the paper bags. They were paper bag fans.
Oh, this does look like a Cal game. Holy smokes!
Yeah.
That is real empty.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna be very interesting.
Well,
on
that's good
Saturday.
news for us.
Yeah. Also, the game time of the game too. Like, I think it's perfect. 7:30 there, but it's a 4:00 kick for us. Like the guys will be in like prime, physical condition, in my opinion.
It's gotta be 7:00 Eastern.
Yeah, that's what I mean. 7:00
Yeah.
Eastern is 4:00 for us. So their
Yeah.
body clocks are going to be 4:00, right?
Yep.
But yeah,
All right.
how do you feel about Florida State?
I mean, I just can't. Man, I mean, talk about difference in less than a year. It's really sad what happened to them last season.
Yep.
And I don't know. I think they'll get up for this game. First Cal, like first time he's playing Cal in the ACC. Obviously, they've had a couple in conference games already, but I don't know. if the stadium is looking like it did against Memphis, which I don't think it'll be based on what you just said, but if it does, it gives us a huge advantage in not making it as intimidating. And if we can get comfortable early, if we have a first half that we had, like maybe obviously not expecting Fernando to repeat what he did against Auburn, but relatively more balanced success where we're running the ball on the ground and we're going in tied, being like the second half team that we think we're building this identity around. Yeah, I mean, I'd feel really good about that. And I think it just like lowers the intimidation factor. You look at this game at the beginning of the season, this is the big one. I think all three of us, you, me, and Trace, were saying loss, right? Like we were losing this game at Florida State. And unless one of us was crazy enough to say there's a win, I think maybe one of us did. But I think that this game, it's just wild to see how dramatically it has shifted. There's still a lot of talent there. And the one thing I'll say about San Diego State and Davis is that like the talent disparity was on full display. That was like one of my biggest takeaways. It was like San Diego State and just like how different it is now than a few years ago when we used to play Mountain West opponents, and the talent disparity was not like that. I remember playing Nevada, with Colin Kaepernick. Like you can remember those teams, and there was always somebody. We played Nevada when we had that one quarterback that was also hella good, and then when they beat us, right?
They also had two NFL wide receivers.
Yeah, like there, and Davis had the NFL wide receiver that was on Hard Knocks. I mean, it just was different. But like now, the Teddy Buchanan's come to Cal, right? Like it's just a different world. And the one thing that I'm curious about is the talent level being even, if not tilted in favor of Florida State. How does that play out on the field? And what does that look like? Probably a closer game than what people are expecting. I know some people were like, we're going to blow them out. I was like, I don't think so. I was like, I've been a Cal fan long enough to know that it's pretty doubtful that we blow them out. We don't really blow out anybody, but that's what I'm expecting.
It's going to be a fun day on Sunday. Or Saturday. Sorry. Saturday. Saturday is going to be a fun one. Definitely going to enjoy that.
All right.
Do we got anything else?
Take us home.
Well, that's it for the Golden Bear Cast. If you are listening to us, you know where to find us. You can get at us on Twitter at Golden Bear Cast. You can email us goldenbearcast@gmail.com. You can find all the written stuff at rightforcalifornia.com. Enjoy game day, folks. It's an away game that none of us are going to. So I do know one person that'll be at the game, though. Our dear friend Ed Quinn, Mr. President.
No way.
I texted him the other day or today asking him for some help on something, and he was like, "Yep, I'll be at the game." So it's gonna be awesome. So we'll have a president on the field.
Good enough for me.
All right. Well, that wraps it up for us here on the Golden Bear Cast, and as always,
Go Bears.